Getting strategy right is a critical issue for all organisations. In the for-profit sector, we can point to organisations like Apple and Woolworths and look at their sustained period of outperformance due to carefully executing strategies, making investments and making the right actions. But also in not-for-profit sector and government, we can also see successful strategy in action. Fred Hollow's Foundation, for example, is an organisation that's done extremely well through a carefully executed strategy. Brisbane City Council as well, in preparing for future challenges, using scenario planning and driving those into actions, has also been a great example of good strategy in action. What links these examples of successful strategies are really four key themes of the strategy process, and this is what we really focus on at the UQ Business School Strategy in Action course. These are making sense, making choices, making it happen, and then making changes. Making sense is the common focus of most strategy. Here we try to look at the environment, what our competitors are doing, what our customers are wanting, and we try to look at what that means for our strategy. But this isn't where most of the problems occur in the strategy process. It's the next two stages, making choices and making it happen. Making choices. A lot of businesses aren't prepared to make the trade-offs, to focus on a particular part of the business or a particular value discipline for customers. But 80% of strategies actually fail because of the execution problem. It's actually putting the rubber on the road is where the problems really start to happen. And at UQ Business School, we have a strong focus on the execution of strategy. Now, the final part is making changes, and we've really got to recognise that the future is uncertain. No plan is perfect, and sometimes being able to make adjustments and respond to changes is more important than trying to generate the perfect plan. During this course at UQ Business School, we invite managers to come along with their organisations as case studies and go through that process of building an integrated strategy and then translating that into actions that are implementable.
I'm a research scientist with CSIRO Livestock Industries based here in Brisbane. So I came to the Strategy in Action course with the initial goal of looking at diversifying the funding base for our organisation. CSIRO is predominantly funded by the federal government, but we also generate income from the commercial sector. We wanted to look to see whether we could expand our interests in the commercial world. As part of the course, we were provided with a number of tools and strategies for teasing the business apart, looking at what we did in a critical manner. And in doing that process, we realised that there's perhaps two quite different arms of the business, and to perform effectively, we need to increase skill sets that deliver either to our major stakeholder, being the federal government, or to the commercial world if that's the avenue that we decide to go down.
Hi, I'm Tom Maguire. I'm the General Manager of Corporate Affairs and Innovations with the Tees Group of companies, Australia's second largest meat processor, Queensland's largest privately owned company. I came to this course because we've acquired recently a new business and there were things wrong in that business. Lots of things would come up on a day-to-day basis, but we really couldn't put our finger on what was the underlying cause of all of this. So I was very interested to explore how our new business was different to our current business and how at the same time there were things that we could do in our core business that would support the new one. During these last 4 days, I think we've had a real light bulb moment. We've delved deeply into the strategy and the plan of Tees Food Service going forward, and it's clearly a fundamentally different animal to the Tees business. And therefore there are lots of implications about how we manage that business going forward that are different from our current core business. Now, when we go back to work now, the challenge is before us, because 80% of our strategies that we've learnt during the course fail when someone goes to execute them. And that's because it's really going to be hard. There's a very strong established culture in our business, but now at least that we can see what's going on and we've got a way to go back into the business and explain that, I'm optimistic about the future.
I'm Michael Kaspovich. I played professional cricket for 19 years. From 17 years of age, I began this process, and all the skills I learnt in professional sport at an elite level, I'm looking to use in the next stage of my life. The Southern Premier League is a proposed competition happening in Australia in 2011, October 2011. At this stage it doesn't exist, and our case study was to make sure that we can make a company that's going to consult and capitalise on the relationships with Queensland cricket in particular, but also to develop the skills needed to enter this game, this environment. One thing from sport I learnt is that you've got to control your skills and control the things that you can do. It could be the weather, the pitch, even the umpire's decisions. They are things that you have no control over whatsoever. What we do have control though is setting up this company, forming a strategy so that there's a quick execution possible, and at the end of the day, that's all we can control, and to put ourselves in the best position to capitalise on this new market.
The case study we chose was for the Advanced Water Management Centre within the University of Queensland. One of the things that's quite clear from the work we've been doing this week is that the customer value proposition, which we interpreted as being the stakeholder value proposition, is paramount, and we considered that we could focus on product leadership. But in that context, we were realising as we worked through the case study that the centre has quite significant issues in front of it in relation to sustainability. It's been immensely successful. It's been established since 1996, but it's only in the last 2 years that it's had incredible growth and success in its research activity. And so with that incredible success comes risks of what is sustainable. And so we found that the tools that we learnt this week were very important for being able to analyse and establish what would be the ways to manage that risk coming in the future.
Organisations need to see strategy as a process, not just a plan that sits on the shelf or a weekend away at a retreat. We can have a lot of great plans, a lot of great ideas, but businesses continually struggle to translate these into changes in how the business works. Organisations that see strategy as an ongoing process of analysing, learning, making adjustments, engaging staff will be successful.